Hi, Pamela, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing, Fadil?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us today. And
My pleasure.
happy social distancing for Corona.
Corona cannot do with us.
A cool lockdown. So what I'm doing is I'm just admitting all the participants.
Okay.
Well, for everybody who showed their interest. So just a bit of background, Pamela, we wanted 100 participants. The Zoom allows 100 participants, right?
Okay.
Within 24 we had about
Karen, can you do a favor and mute everyone?
yeah. Hello, hold on.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
All right, so we have about 32 people on board now. I think I'll give it about 2 more minutes and then we can officially kick it off. And as people join, they'll just have to join in as we go along. So,
Okay, great.
in the meantime, I wanted to just get your thoughts on what's going on with Corona. How are you feeling about it? Do you think that we're going to be allowed back into the outside next week?
Well, look, you know, Corona has obviously been what we refer to as a black swan event, where it's affected, you know, everyone globally. Everybody has been touched by Corona in one way or form. But from our perspective, my perspective, and our perspective, I think it's actually a time, the world will never be the same following Corona. And it's now that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a risk taker, now's the time to really go after what you believe. Now is the time to really look for opportunities because certain things around the world have changed.
Yeah.
Telecoms, Zoom, we're on Zoom now. Like, I can't imagine the last time I was on Zoom before COVID. You know, you just called people up. But Zoom is now in everybody's life and is here to stay. You know, and other people are seeing Verizon last week bought up Blue Jeans, which is another telecoms, like Zoom, another teleconference provider for $500 million. Yeah. So, you know, there's so many apps. So the world as we know it has changed. I think we should just accept that. Yeah. I believe, and I like to believe that it has, someone says they can't hear us.
They can't hear us? Hold on.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, you can. Okay, great.
Okay.
Maybe the person is having network issues.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So everybody, just do us a favor. We know you're probably at home with your family. There might be some kids running around. There might be, you know, you might be just taking a stroll. Please do us a favor. We're going to have some Entrepreneurship 101 masterclass rules. So number one is please mute yourself. I also now just want to use this opportunity to formally introduce the class, the program. So we're expecting about 300 people to sign up. Entrepreneurship 101 was literally just something I thought about a few days ago on Friday. And I thought, you know, I've done money giveaway on Bookings Africa, where social media. I've given away to charities. How else can I give back? And I thought the most priceless thing that I believe I own is the information that I've gathered over the last year. And I think that would also really impact and be of value to entrepreneurs. So I decided to put together this 5-day program. So for the entire week, from Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. till 6, we will be doing this. And then also from, everybody should join us. Yes. And then we will also be sharing the notes. So it will be nice if you could get pen and paper. pen and paper, and then just make your notes. Otherwise, at the end of the session, at the end of the week, we will be sending a compilation of all the notes. And also, we will be sharing these videos. Could everybody everybody? So, okay. So can everybody, if you can hear me, just send me a message to confirm that you can hear me. If you can hear me, okay? Thank you. So we're about to start. Pamela, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Perfect. All right, so I want to just thank Pamela for joining us. Pamela is, I should call him Dr. Pamela Oshibo. Introduce yourself, and I know you're very humble, but it's okay to humbly brag. I'm going to give a bit of background. I met Pamela about 8 months ago, and he's a partner for my investment company, the VC company that invested in me, which is the Platform Capital. They have been amazing. He's helped me build my business plan. He's helped me build my business model, even also the financial model as well. And I will be sharing with you some websites that I used before I approached Pamela, because as you go through the 5 days, everything that I'm talking about is actually something that I did. So we're not going to go through any topic that I actually haven't personally covered. So step one, which is today, the starter pack, we are going to go over business plan, business model, route to market, and the importance of having a vision, mission, and we're going to have various speakers. So Pamela is going to cover business plan and business model. Then we're going to have Bookie Sawyer, who's gonna, she's from a PR company. She owns a PR company called Bookie HQ Media. Amazing friend of mine. She's gonna cover branding, vision, mission, unique selling point. And then finally, we'll end up with Sarah Kutus, who's the MD of MediaCom, a massive ad agency in Kenya. And she will then cover the last bit, which is the route to market. So I'll let everybody introduce themselves, all the speakers introduce themselves, then I'm gonna let them go into their topic, and then I'll give you my advice or my experience, and then we'll move on to the next speaker. Everybody good with that? So with that, on that note, Pamela, the floor's yours.
Okay, great. Thank you, Fade, for this opportunity. Thank you, Bookings Africa. And thank you, everyone that has joined for joining in. You know, these are unprecedented times, as we were saying earlier. And I think in these times, it's important to really gain more knowledge, more insights, and more understanding. I'm doing that myself personally and at a business level. And so I'm just very happy to have this opportunity to share with you guys, all the participants on this call. So as Fade was saying, my official name, Dr. Pamela Oshibo, but doesn't really mean anything. I have a PhD in chemical engineering, and then from there, following my PhD, I worked in Japan for a while, and then moved back to the UK where I was working. Working in private equity focused on Africa, and then eventually moved back to Nigeria where I continued to work in private equity, and then I'm joining Platform, worked in private equity and venture capital. So I focus predominantly, I cut across investments, fundraising, investor relations, stakeholder engagement. So my job is quite multifaceted. And as Fade has mentioned, I had the pleasure of working with her and her team when we were doing the investment into Bookings Africa, and worked extensively on the business plan, the financial model, the strategy that was, we've been able to successfully employ and implement into making Bookings Africa the successful startup that it is today. So that's quick about me. So normally I would like to take a straw poll, but I know I'm short on time. I only have about 10 minutes left. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's about 10, 15 minutes. 15 minutes for you.
10, 15. Okay, so what I'll do, guys, is I will talk for about maybe 8, 9, maximum 10 minutes, and then leave about 2 to 5 minutes for questions. So it's fastest fingers first. Fade, I'll let you be the judge of which questions are most relevant.
To pick.
Okay. So, all right. So, guys, simply put, a business plan is a simple document that talks about what you intend your current business or future business to do and implement. It's not complicated, even though many people make it sound complicated. It's just what it requires fundamentally is a lot of thinking about your business, okay? Because first and foremost, a good business plan must document a good business, okay? There is no amount of packaging, no amount of English you are going to write that is going to turn what is not a good business into a good business plan, okay? So that's fundamental. That's one point that I want to get across to everyone. There's no magic behind this. So what am I saying? In essence, what I'm saying is that before you even write your business plan, professionally, you must have thought through your business. You must either be willing to start a new business or at the early stage to start a new business that works. So you need to think about your business. You need to really understand what you're trying to do.
Life is ready to tell.
Please mute yourself, please.
Because one of the biggest things that we see when we talk to entrepreneurs, they come with nice business plans, look glossy on PowerPoint, etc. But when we begin to drill down, there isn't a lot of substance behind these business plans. Because the fundamental business, they either don't understand it or don't have enough learning or just haven't thought through things. And it's not the end of the world if you haven't. But I think one of the biggest things is really understand your business, and then it enables you to make a business plan simple. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things is if you cannot explain your business in your either verbally or in your business plan to a 5-year-old, then you probably truly do not understand your business.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what people think that this business plan must be some complicated documents that has all types of English and graphs. No, it needs to be simple yet concise enough for you to share that information across to even a 5-year-old. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just wanted to set that as a benchmark. Now, let's now begin to go into what makes a good business, okay? And this feeds into how you then carry it along into your business plan. Because for every good business that you want to adopt, you want to run, you see yourself as a founder, you have to have clearly identified, for me, 5 things. You need to have clearly identified what is the market opportunity that I'm going after, okay? And is this market opportunity, does it fall under the blue ocean category? That means there's no one playing in that space that you're in. So is it latent or is it real? So is it real in the sense that you can see it, you can touch it, but for whatever reason, people are not going after it, okay? Or is it latent in the sense that you're going to have to spend a lot of time, it's there, it exists, but you're going to have to spend a lot of time generating it and making people aware of it, bringing it from under the surface to the top. So that's blue ocean. Or 2, are you coming in as a disruptor? And even that has two subcategories. If you're coming in to say your market is going to be disruptive, are you coming up to compete with people? Or are you providing a solution that is new, did not previously exist? Okay? So let me use for an example. Let me use Uber. Everybody knows Uber.
Bookings Africa as an
example. I can use Bookings Africa as an example, okay? I'll use Bookings Africa since I work today. So Bookings Africa we're already in an ecosystem where people are booking artisans, where if you wanted a hairdresser, makeup artist, you would first of all have to call and see, that hairdresser you used or that stylist you used, please, what was her number, you would call. So this is a market that already existed. But what Bookings Africa was doing is that they saw an opportunity. They targeted the market. They said, this market, we can disrupt it. We can then also go, and how are we going to disrupt it? We're going to focus on certain things. We're going to be able to, which brings me to my next point about solution. What problem are you addressing? A lot of people do not always identify that, what problem they're addressing. In Bookings Africa's case, they identified the problem of lack of trust, payment issues, where talents were not being paid on time, if at all. They also identified other things about trust and reliability on the other side, where the client is, if I pay you 50% upfront, how do I know you turn up on the day? How do I know you turn up on time? So they identified the issues due to the knowledge they have of the industry, and said that this product will now be able to address these problems that are being faced. That is key. Once you've identified the market, there can be a huge market, but there are many problems in that huge market. Which problem are you going after? You know, you need to be very knowledgeable. You need to have a very deep understanding of that, because that is when you can really begin to understand what product do I need to develop, what strategy, what approach do I need to take, which brings to my third point about defining a good business. What product am I developing to meet this, to address this solution to the problem that I've identified in the markets that I have seen? Okay, so your third point is what product are you developing? What is your strategy around that? What is your route to market? What is your approach? Because it's very important that you understand and you know what this is. Because you can look at competitors and assume that they're developing this product for this solution because this is their strategy. And it's not always the case. Sometimes what people do and what their strategy is are very are different. What they're doing externally does not align with their full-on strategy. And you don't always pivot to this. So you need to focus as an entrepreneur, focus on what you're doing. Yeah. Okay. Finally, point 4 of my 5 points is you need to be able to answer the question, why will it work? Okay. Why would this product you've developed that is providing a solution to this problem in this market, why will it work? And then there could be a million and one reasons. It could work because you have built great technology. It could work because you have access to the biggest manufacturer, the biggest collector of content. It could work because you have the ability to scale rapidly. It could work because you have deep experience. You have 20 years experience in this field, so you know everybody and anybody, and you know the deep-rooted issues, and your solution is the best. So you need to be able to answer that succinctly, why to work. And then point 5 on what makes a good business is then you also need to be able to articulate what does the business need. So does my business need capital? Does it need technology? Does it need market access? Does it need a team? Does it need assets? Okay, these are just some of the things in broad categories. So because when you know that, because if you've done the work up front, and you've answered all the questions, all the 4 points, by the time you get to this last, that will be staring you in the face. Right. Because you know, okay, I now need capital to build better tech. I need network. I need access to a network to get market access. I need a better team around me because the way I see this plan, I cannot do it on my own. I'm going to need someone who's doing sales, someone who's doing marketing, somebody who's doing graphics, someone who's doing brand, whatever that might be, and the difference from business. You might need an operations manager. You might need, you might need a shop. If you're physical, you might need inventory. So, but by the time you've gone through this, you'll be able to answer those questions. Okay. So that's talking about the business. Now, a business plan, the way that I see it, must have 6 elements. When you think about it, it must have 6 elements. And these are things that I specifically look out for. And when we do have to write business plans, ensure are in this business plan. Number 1, you must utilize simple language that is concise, but not voluminous. Okay, there's a misconception that the more pages you slam someone with in a business plan, the better. Not always. It shouldn't be light, but it should be concise. So have everything you need that you need someone to know about that business in that business plan, but also make sure it's concise. Okay? Which leads on to the second point, point 2. It must be an easy read. Okay? So I need to know, presentation is important, flow and layout is important. Sorry, can everyone mute themselves, please?
Please mute yourself, please. The people that just joined, please mute yourself. I'm trying to mute everyone.
Okay. I think everyone's muted now.
Yeah.
Okay. So it must be an easy read, presentation style, flow, because when you're giving this to an investor or even a strategic partner, every page must be exciting enough for them to want to turn to the next page. Mm-hmm. So this is where your knowledge of your business, which I've talked about earlier, begins to shine through. If you've thought about it, you should be able to convey the thoughts, the problem, the market in such a way that it's exciting. That people will say, okay, I want to turn the page on this. I like what I'm reading. Point 3 is that you must clearly communicate what is your value proposition. Okay, what is the value proposition of this business? Am I the first? Am I the best? Do I have the best technology? Do I provide value for my customers that nobody else is currently able to provide? You know, for example, if currently transactions are costing customers 5%, I have the tech, I have the know-how to give it to them at 1%. So I will get customers. Customers will come to me because I'm reducing their cost of transacting by 80%. Those are the kind of things you need to think about when you're talking about the value proposition. Really, why would people come to you, and why would they stay with you? Yeah. Point 4 is you need to outline the vision. What is the vision of your business? Do you in 5 years want to be the largest in Nigeria, in West Africa, in Africa, or the world? How do you see that vision? What do you see that vision being? You need to be able to align. And it sounds easy, but a lot of times you need to think about it. A lot of thought goes into business planning and writing a good business plan.
Yeah.
Element 5 in your business plan, what is the team that's going to be responsible for executing this business plan? That is key. A lot of people do not pay attention to that. You know, yes, you are the founder, you might have a co-founder, but what team are you looking at? Today, you might be a team of 3, but you need to be able to say, to fully execute this business plan that I've written, I need to hire 6 more people over the next 18 months, and these are their roles. You need to be specific to show any investor reading your document that you understand what your business needs. You understand the milestones your business needs to achieve, and you understand the team. You might not know the person now, but you know the type and caliber and experience of person you're looking to hire in that position. Yeah. And then finally, point 6 is you need to show what is in this for investors, okay? Because if you're pitching to an investor, you need to show what is in it for him. So that is saying things along the lines of, if you invest in me today, in 5 years, my revenue will be times 10, so that the money that you're giving me and the faith and the resources, you are guaranteed to get 5 times what you invested in me today. You need to do your own analysis. You need to have a strong idea of what that would look like, because investors are ultimately looking to a few things. They want their capital to be good use, to have impact, to have scale through the business, because at any point in time, there are multiple businesses that they're looking at. Okay, so I think I'm out of time.
I think so. That was very concise. I will give you a quick 2 minutes. So everyone, let's do a fire round. 2 minutes, quick fire round. So what I want to give you 2 quick questions. What would you say, number 1, is a business plan and a business model? And
so I didn't. Okay, go ahead.
That's question number 1 for you. And question number 2 for me is, what is a value proposition?
Okay, So let me tackle that. So a business model is actually part of a business plan, but a business model is in essence showing how you make money. Okay, and this is very important that you understand that, because, and that's part of what an investor wants to see, is how, a few people are saying they can't hear me. I think you need to sign in with internet audio. You probably haven't plugged in with your audio. So it's how you make money, how you generate revenue. So in the case of some businesses, what they do is they have multiple ways of making income. So some will say they charge a subscription model, so every month that's recurring revenue. Others will tell you that because as transactions are passing, they take a commission of those transactions that pass through the platform. Some also get revenue from partners. So that is really where the business model. So it's also critical that you understand that, because if you don't understand how your business is going to make money, not just once, but sustainably over a 5-year period, and how they're going to be able to grow that revenue, it's going to be hard to convince anyone that this is worth backing. So that is really what the business model looks at. How this, in layman's terms, how is this business going to make money consistently and over a long period of time? Okay. Your second question was about the value proposition. So the value proposition is, if you look at most businesses, there's a business, there are the users, there are also stakeholders across the value chain. So what you're looking at in your value prop is why will people, one, engage my business, and why will they continue over time? What value am I giving them over a continuous and extended period of time? I will make sure they are sticky and keep coming back to use my service. So I touched on that a little bit earlier, where it was, you can say, for example, because you're reducing transaction costs for your clients, they will keep coming back because you're the cheapest provider. But that's not the only source of value. In some instances, you're providing them educational content. The partnerships that you have are second to none. So through you, they have access to other value-add partnerships. They might be able to, as a member, get discounts on something else or get access to something else. So it's key that you understand that business, that value proposition, and continue to evolve it and navigate. Because people might decide to copy your value proposition. But you need to keep evolving, keep evaluating it as your business evolves, and see. And some might be very unique. If you're, just to give an example, if you're Dangote's daughter, there's certain value proposition that you're always going to have. As
my value is my network is my net worth.
Exactly. So that nobody's going to be able to compete with. So there are certain value propositions that are inherent. And I think that's what you need to understand and also focus on, because people can't copy what's intrinsically you. They can try, but it will never be the same.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a couple of questions here. Pamela, you can answer directly to some questions, can't you? You can see the chats.
Let me see if I can see them on the chat.
We have, quickly, Fatumbi Solomon says, how do we combat the problem of too expensive professional business plan formulation by professionals just as we are a startup? So Fumbi, I will give you my own, but I did not know how to create a business plan. I went online. Google is your friend. YouTube is your friend. The good thing is after this session, I will also be sharing some links. So after all the three speakers have had the opportunity, I can then also answer some of your questions. There is a specific YouTube channel that I always go on about, which is called Harvard iLab. So the Ivy League University in America, Harvard, they have their own YouTube channel. I'll share it with you guys, Harvard iLab, and it has everything you need to know about starting any business, especially how to write a business plan. And that was actually what I studied for. I did about 100 hours iLab, discuss it, and I learned how to write a business plan. And then from there, at least you have to start somewhere. Most people just think, oh, I want a business plan. Let me go and pay someone from KPMG or let me pay a consultant. You don't necessarily need to. You can actually start up by yourself, and then it's easier to get somebody to help you fine tune it. Any feedback on that, Pamela?
No, so I agree with everything you've said. It's always best to start off with your business plan yourself.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Take a first stab at it and keep iterating it. Remember, as I said, as you research, as you understand the issues, you go out and talk to potential customers.
Yeah.
You begin to understand what tweaks you need to make to continue to improve your business plan. So your business plan. So we have a saying internally, with your business plan, as soon as you write it, it becomes obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's our way of saying that your business plan needs to continue to evolve. Okay? So a business plan is not something you write once, you keep on a shelf, and you expect everything to pan out over the next 5 years. Perfect example. If you started a business today or in January, nobody expected COVID. COVID has hit. So we've worked with all our portfolio companies, including Bookings Africa, to rework their business plan for the next 9 months to the end of the year, because the reality on ground has changed. The world as we know it has changed. Yeah. So you always need to continue to reinvent. There's some elements of your business plan that will not change. You need to tweak them to adjust to current realities in the market.
Thank you so much. There's a few more questions, but I don't believe they're aimed at you. If you do see them in the chat group, feel free to comment. I've got questions about building a team. We actually have a team building session on Wednesday. It's called, on Thursday, called Work It Out. And we specifically talk about how to hire a team, when to hire, why you need to upskill so that you can know a little bit about everything about your business. So on Thursday, same time, we'll be specifically going through that. Fatumbi wants to know, while discussing with investors, how do I protect my business idea? We also have the art of pitching, and we will also have an investor come on board. So I do believe that question is best suited for the investors themselves as well. And then throughout, somebody asked a general question. Max said, we will be getting a summary of this business. Of course you will. So at the end of each day, we will be given a roundup of what each speaker mentioned. And if they have any books, any feedback, any links, any website, we'll also share that with you during, we're basically going to give you minutes of this masterclass. So that said, Wamile, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to get Buki on the line, and Bukola.
Hey, Padre, what's up? How you doing?
Good, thank you. Bye, Pamela.
All right, goodbye, guys.
Bukola. I'd say what's strange calling it Bukola. I've been Bukola for about, 9 years now? I'm very well, thank you.
Yes, about 9 years. About 9 years, wow.
I know, it's time just flies. So Buki and I used to work together on radio. So she worked on Classic and I worked on Beat FM, but we always had our own passions and we were always entrepreneurs and we were always doing something else. So really and truly, radio was our side hustle.
Yes, it was. It has always been.
It's always been.
It had always been.
So you've done so much in terms of the PR world. And one thing that I really respect you for is you are one of those cool kids. Well, on the surface, your work, I know you personally are not that cool and calm, but your work just speaks for itself. So I'm sure by the time you introduce yourself, you've given a few examples of some of your clients and the global work that people would have recognized. They will be so surprised that it's from you, and it goes a lot of times people think that they need to be the brand in order for their products to sell. So I think that
you're right.
So Buki is the CEO of Buki HQ Media. She specializes in personal and corporate branding and PR solutions. She creates unique solutions for each clientele. And she's going to go through the importance of, and this is in the beginning of starting any business, you need to know your brand. You need to know your vision, as Pamela mentioned before. You need to know your vision. You need to know the mission. You need to know what your unique selling point is. And of course, Dr. Pamela also mentioned your value proposition. So all of this would also help when you know what your brand stands for. And Bookie is just going to spend the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most, just going over essential points. And just like we did, we'll have a quick fire question round as well. And feel free to share maybe some books or websites or any other info as well.
Hi guys, how you all doing today? Thank you so much, Fade. Like Fade said, we've known each other for a very long time, about 9 years. I'll just give you a quick rundown of my professional life. My background is actually in computer science. I started my first company in 1999. It still runs till today. It's an IT company, and we specialize in UI and UX experiences. I joined the radio in 2009, Classic FM to be exact. And even though I was an OAP and on-air personality, I was also head of programming, which was my main passion. And I programmed all of our radio stations, including the radio station that Fade worked on at the time. My whole idea of joining the radio was to be able to understand the media space and start my own PR company, because I felt there was a void in PR and PR work around the country, and I wanted to concentrate on personal brands, which is what I have thankfully been able to do over the last few years. I started my company in 2014, and so far I have had the pleasure of working with Burna Boy for 6 years. I started working with him in 2014. I've worked with Olamide. I worked with him for 2014 to about 2019. Worked with him for about 4 to 5 years. Worked with Adekunle Gold, Mr. Easy, Two-Face, Timaya, Shay, Waje. The list is extremely long, and that is 4 Nigerian artists. In the rest of Africa, I have worked with Casper Nyovest, Manifest, and I currently run PR for Naomi Campbell in Africa. Now, understanding your brand is very, very important, especially to me. I know who I am. I've always known who I am. I've run quite a number of companies, and they still exist today, but every single one of those companies has a brand and understands what that brand is. Now, if you are starting your company, one of the first things that you want to do is understand what the unique selling point is of your company. Yeah, I say unique selling point because it makes it easier for you to understand. It's either your company as a corporate entity or you as a personal brand. There are no restrictions. I believe strongly that every single industry has its own set of celebrities. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're in the banking industry, immediately you think about the banking industry, you have the people that come to your mind immediately as the top celebrities of that industry. If you're in the legal profession, you have the people that come to your mind as the top celebrities of that profession. Whatever niche you find yourself in, just know that you can be a celebrity in that industry by ensuring that your USP stands out, your mission statement stands out, your vision stands out, and most importantly, your plans for what it is that you want your business to provide. So let's start with your unique selling point. What is it about your business that stands out? What is it about your business that sets you apart from the common herd? What are you solving? What are you bringing to the table? What makes you special? How can you define your USP easily in one sentence that makes you stand out, that has absolutely nothing to do with what your profession is about? And I say this way, and I use the simplest example. I use musicians. If you were a musician, if you were starting off as a musician, what is it about you that will make you different from every other musician out there? That would be your USP. If you are a bank, what are you bringing to the table as a bank that makes you stand out from every other bank? I mean, in Nigeria, we have over 30 banks currently, but every single time you think about banks, 5 banks come to mind. It's either your bank, the bank that has the most advertising, the bank that is offering the best services digitally, or the bank that basically just makes the most amount of noise. So your company, whatever your company is, whatever your brand is, has to stand out one way or another. And so ask yourself, what is it about myself or my company that would make me stand out? I tend to use the example of football a lot because I love football. I support Manchester United, and I'm sure there are quite a number of Manchester United fans in here right now. But I use David Beckham a lot as an example. And I say he was not the best footballer in Manchester United. He wasn't the best. He wasn't your first, he wouldn't have made the list of first 5 picks at the time that he was at the top of his career. But there are not many people in the world today that would think about Manchester United without thinking about David Beckham first. And the question is, why do you think that is? There are quite a number of footballers that were much better than him, had more skills than he did. But there was something about him that made him stand out, and that was his brand. His branding was excellent. There's so many different things around him that had absolutely nothing to do with his skill and his football. It made him stand out. It's made him extremely relevant till today, even though he hasn't been playing football for a very long time. So back to you. What is it about your brand that would make you stand out? And whatever that thing is your unique selling point. You put that on your business plan, and it is always the first thing on your business plan. You have to be solving a solution, or you have to be solving a problem. Next up is your mission statement. Now, the mission statement for my company, which is Bookie HQ Media, is to be the one-stop shop for all personal brand solutions in public and media relations. We want you to think about us first. We want you to come to us for all of your problems, to solve them when it has to do with public and media relations. Now, to be able to do that, we have to put all of the different things in place, keeping our mission statement our vision in mind. Sorry, I meant our vision. Our mission, on the other hand, is to make all of our clients newsworthy and relevant. That is our mission statement. There is a lot to go on with our brands and our USPs and our mission statements and our value propositions or our mission, but we don't have a lot of time for that. I believe, Fade?
Yes.
I can go on talking right now. I'm looking at the time. But if there are any questions very quickly, I will take them for now.
So we have...
Fade, do you have any questions?
How I want to know, is the unique selling point similar to your value proposition?
It's not the same thing. They're two completely different things, right? Your unique selling point is what it is that makes you as a brand stand out. Your value proposition is what you are bringing to the table that adds value, right? So let's use booking.com. Fade,
yes.
Booking.com. What is your unique selling point? What is it that sets you apart? Sorry, Bookings Africa. What is it that sets you apart from every other booking agency in the world?
Okay, so Bookings Africa actually has quite a few different USPs. Number one, we are the first app in Africa that specifically focuses on talent, and we are the first app that allows you to connect people in different countries across the continent. And for the first time, you can book and pay for talent, and the specific segment of talent that we're focusing on is not readily available. So you cannot go anywhere online today apart from Bookings Africa and book and pay for a videographer in Kenya or in Nigeria or in South Africa. You cannot go online and book for a dancer or a DJ and book and pay for them online securely right now in Africa. So that is what Bookings Africa's unique selling point is. We are the first Pan-African app that allows you to connect millions of clientele to service providers, compare their prices, see their portfolio, see their timetable, as well as ratings and reviews from previous customers, and book and pay for them securely online. That is not availavailable anywhere but bookingsafrica.com. Now, if I want to
what is your value? What is your value proposition?
So right now, the value.
What value are you thinking?
Actually now is different depending on who I'm talking to. When you have to talk about my clients, I have two different.
Yep.
I have one, which is the talent. So the hairdressers, the makeup artists, the DJs, that's one set of my users. Then I have my customers, the people who are booking for these talents, right? So I actually have to create value. When you think of value proposition, you think, how am I adding value to my customer or to my user or to my audience, right? So that's the difference between that and unique selling point. Unique selling point is what makes your brand or your business different from your competition and from everybody else. Your value proposition is what value are you adding. So for example, I'm adding value to talent like the makeup artist and the hairstylist because now they don't have to haggle with clients. You can now have your own booking account management system free online. I'm adding value to you because we're going to be doing marketing for your brand, be on social media and via newsletters. And I'm adding value because most of the people right now online are Bookings Africa talent and users. So I'm giving you guys a free masterclass. So I'm adding value. Putting money in your pocket by getting you booked and paid, or I'm giving you a chance for you to upskill and train yourself. And that is part of what the Bookings Africa community is about. So the value proposition for a talent is different to what a client who's paying, the value proposition will be different there. And I've also got a lot of strategic partnerships like with banks and with LSCTF and House of Tara Makeup School, and all of these add value to the users. So there's a quick difference between value proposition and USP. Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, you're spot on. There's a question here that says, is the unique selling point similar to value? Okay, we've answered that one, sorry. How do you find your USP for a personal brand without boxing yourself as a person? This is such an important question. Please note that your USP doesn't define you for life, right? You can always change your USP, right? So I'm going to use, let's use, I wanted to use somebody quite close to us, right? But I think I would just take it out a little bit. Okay, so I have always believed that there's a reason why you have some musicians that are more popular than other musicians.
Right.
And I believe that it is because they have been able to set themselves apart from other musicians with something very, very simple. Fino was not the first Igbo rapper in Nigeria, but there was something about him that stood out completely. And after checking and after asking people, I found out that his hair made people inquisitive about him. But I remember his hair, he had this crazy hairstyle for the longest time. So it made people, people see him and make him stand out. You remember that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let me put it this way. If you define it, hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, okay, it froze for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If you can define your brand in one sentence without mentioning what it is you do, right? Then you have something. So, Fade.
Yeah.
Bookings Africa.
Yeah.
One sentence. Say something about Bookings Africa in one sentence. Anything. The most important thing about it in one sentence.
The most important thing about Bookings Africa is connect clients to talented freelancers, making the transaction transparent across Africa.
Full stop. And then with that, you automatically set yourself apart from everybody else, and at the same time define the space that you're in. But in 2 years, you might realize that your brand has to expand and go somewhere else. And then you set a new USP for yourself. So you won't box yourself in if you define your USP. You would actually make yourself stand out. But then when you need to expand, you can actually change your USP anytime you want.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Buki. It's been so insightful. And what I'm also going to ask yourself, and please feel free to WhatsApp me maybe some YouTube channels that you might find interesting for people to watch, or maybe some books about branding, or maybe like company culture, things like that. But anything that you found insightful that you wouldn't mind sharing, please definitely share that with me. So in Zoom, Precious Adekola is raising her hand. What does that mean? Lower hand?
Wait, hold on.
I'm not sure. But anyways, Precious, if you have a question, please put it in the Zoom, in the group chat. So coming up next, Buki, thank you so much. Coming up next, we're now heading over to East Africa. We are going to be joined by my other good friend, Sarah Katus, who is the, bye. Sarah, are you there? I'm asking Sarah to start.
Yes, I was unmuted.
Awesome. Hi, girl. How are you? You can see me? You good?
I'm good. I was unmuting. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Have you found the session so far? How have you found the session so far, Sarah?
Oh, actually, I joined from the start and it was quite nice. I found it very interesting. And it was quite nice. I've learned. I'm learning as well.
You're taking your notes?
I'm a speaker, but I was learning. I learned quite a bit. Yes, I took some notes.
Awesome. Just to remind everyone that we will, David Kings is asking, is it possible to share the recording? Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to share highlights of all the speakers' points that they made. We will be sharing that because there's no point in sharing a huge file of 1 hour, you know. So we'll compress it to the main bullet points that people need to know. We'll do that, and then we'll also send you the notes, the minutes of the meeting, of the masterclass session. So also the bullet points, as well as the videos. And then I'm also going to speak to like yourself offline, and Buki and Kwamile, and if you can share with me some links or some URLs and things like that, websites, books that you have found useful, then definitely I'd love to share that and put that all together. So within 24 hours, by this time, before tomorrow's Zoom meeting, which is day 2, before we start that, you guys would actually have had the minutes of day 1. And similar, just like that, until the end of the week, day 5. By the weekend, we will then send you the video of everything, day 1 to day 5. So even if you miss a couple of days, it doesn't matter. We'll still send you that. But it's always great to join in every day of the week, so that, you know, you can always get involved and ask questions. And do remember as well that once the speakers finish, if you want to stay online for an additional 30 minutes or so, I will still be here personally to then go over my experience on how I did everything personally, how I wrote my business plan, my business model, my route to market, figuring out my vision and my mission. So everything that we've spoken about, I'm now going to break it down to you after we speak to Sarah. So on that note, Sarah, how are you? Sarah is in Nairobi, Kenya right now as we speak. I met Sarah last year when I went to Kenya and I was interviewing and hiring my staff. So I think that was around August, September? I think around September last year.
Yes, so, August, yes, August.
And, oh wait, no, we met at Can Lion, girl.
Oh no, yes, we met in Cannes in June first. Sorry, yes.
So in June last year, we met at the Cannes Lion.
Yeah, Cannes in June. Oh, yes, yes.
So much fun. And literally, so the creator of the hit show Blackish and Mixedish and Grownish, his name is Kenya Barris. So he was having a presentation at the Cannes Lion Festival. And I was just like, okay, great. He's a black guy. He's a producer. I'm definitely going to go support him. And there were not that many black people at the event. So I remember like Sarah walked in and our eyes just locked into each other like, oh, another black person. Hi, come and say hello. So she sat next to me and then I saw Kenya on her name tag and she saw Nigeria and my name tag. And then that was it. The power of networking, and fast forward so that we're here. So I'm gonna stop talking. I will let you introduce yourself. And I tell people, I know that we're humble. Like all my friends, you know, we're very like hard work, you know, we're all about the results. But just sometimes you need to just be as, let's just call it basic, right? So there's no point in, it's a humble brag. So feel free to let people know of all the impact and all the good things that you've done so they understand why I wanted you and the clout that you have. Sarah is a big girl, oh. Let's not even try and... You are. She's the MD of MediaCom.
So I'm Sarah Katusia. I'm the MD for MediaCom from Sub-Saharan Africa. We are based in Nairobi. We have a few offices. We have actually one in Nigeria. I just finished a 1-year course at Harvard for business planning and strategy. And I think of all the courses I've ever done in my life, that really helped in really just learning the landscape today and how do you work a business to succeed in today. On a day-to-day basis, I run a media team and a strategy team that works 24/7 and trying to help brands put their money in the right places. And what does that mean? You know, media takes a huge chunk of many marketing budgets. And our job is to ensure that that money goes to the right channels and it's impactful and it's invested against the right KPIs. Some of our clients are Coca-Cola across East and Southern Africa, Kenya Commercial Bank, Procter & Gamble, P&G, who do Pampers always and such, Zuku, Shell, the petrol station. We have some NGO clients like Elton John Foundation, some smaller clients as well. We do Nokia actually, and we work even in Nigeria, we do Nokia. And those are some of our clients. And I love media, but most so I think what I like is helping clients be able to understand that the impact your budget, you know, that the impact on your consumer is going to be driven by how well you invest your budget on media. So this is me. I think it's hard to speak about yourself, but I think I've tried.
You have. Well done. So we heard Kwamile earlier on talk about a business plan. One of the things that you need to have in your business plan is to mention the route to market. So I know that you can go on for weeks talking about route to market, but I think for the sake of the time that we have, let's talk about what exactly is the route to market. Why is that important for people to think about and add that into their business plan? The importance of customer segmentation, how to identify your potential customers, and is there anything they need to do maybe in testing the market to say, okay, I've come up with this idea or this product, how can I test that it actually fits this market, especially when you are bootstrapping? Any ideas for that? And yeah, I'm sure it's your top tips, so I'll let you take the floor and take it away.
Okay, so I have a short one page. I don't think it's a lot of my prep notes, but I think I'll start what is the route to market. And at the basic, your route to market is how you get to your consumers. So whether it's a product or a service, how do you get it to a consumer? In a more technical way, really, it's the methodology you use to be able to align marketing, sales, and distribution to ensure you are actually getting your products and your services to the end user effectively and efficiently. Why? You want to reach as many possible of your target audience as possible, but you also want to ensure you're reaching them efficiently. So you're not spending too much money reaching them, and therefore you're not making profits. So that how do you know who your customers is? And I think it was mentioned before by the speaker who was before me. But as you start your business, you have to audit. What do what need in the market are you fulfilling? And I think this was discussed already. And that need is how you actually then find your customers. So you need then to ask yourself, this need, let me go deeper and understand what these people want. So some of the questions you really need to ask yourself as you figure out who your customers are is, who really are these people? You know, are they there in the market? Are they big? Is the opportunity big enough? So what are the numbers? And we normally call it source of growth. You're really cutting the numbers to be sure you're focusing your business on people who actually exist and enough of them for you to be able to make a profit. Where are they located? And where they're located is important because then you decide where you want your business to be. I think like Fade started by saying that Bookings Africa is in Kenya, is in South Africa, it's in Nigeria, and those were her priority markets. Why? Because when you look at art is really, those are key pieces of where art industries are in Africa. And then you start by, because then you are very clear, how do you go forward to find these people? Then you ask yourselves, who really are they? You know, what is their age group? What are their demographics? What things do these people do? And this is the most important one, which is the behavior of these people. Because the behavior of these people is going to help you decide the insights to which everything is going to be anchored. And the behavior of people, for example, is if you are to go to Bookings Africa in Tanzania, you'd possibly start with music and movies, but you only possibly, you know, start with.
Hello?
Oops, sorry, something happened on my call. But you'll start with Instagram. Why? Because the behavior of Tanzanians.
What is going on?
The behavior of Tanzanians is the fact that. What is going on?
You're back.
Are we back?
Yes. The behavior of what's going on. Yes, we're back. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes. Yes. The behavior of consumers in terms of what really makes them tick. That really helps you to figure out where to invest in your route to market and how to reach them. And then, you know, where do you find these consumers? And, you know, whether you're a small business or a big business, but data is important. And as much as data is expensive, there are small ways and efficient ways of collecting data. Mm-hmm. There are some websites out there that are free. I think one, and I'll try and share when I'm done, but one of them is the World Bank website, Economist website. There are all these websites that have a lot of information for Africa, and they allow us to be able to go into those sites and cut and see where our consumers are. Sometimes your consumers are heavily online. Therefore, you know, like for Friday, online is a very big medium for Bookings Africa. Why? Because these consumers are definitely going to be online. Sometimes your consumers are offline and online. So you need to figure out, do I want to spend some money on some offline media, but I also want to spend some money on online channels? Then how do you combine these channels? And how do you use however much you have to be able to reach consumers and to find them where they are? I think the other part is really, you know, what then do you do with your marketing strategy once you know what your business is about? And I always say the basics have not changed. What has changed is how we address the basics. So when I went to marketing school, it was all about the 7 Ps. And the 7 Ps do not change. How we address them is what changes. So for example, if you want to come up with your marketing plan as a small business, you have to still ask yourself, what is the product I'm selling? At what price am I selling this product? How do I package my product, whether physical or otherwise? Where do I want to sell it? The place I sell it, the people I'm selling this product to, the positioning, which I think the lady before me spoke about, and then the promotion. And if you look at those Ps, what has changed is how we address those Ps, but they're still critical in figuring out what your marketing strategy looks like. Then, you know, importance of customer segmentation. I think, you know, you must do customer segmentation, because if you don't do it, what happens then? You're being very generic in your communication, and you're being very when you're speaking to someone about your business, they cannot figure out what you're really, you know. So where are you going? Who are you going to talk to? Okay, what are you going to sell them? If you have not segmented your customers, then you don't know what you're selling to each of the customers. Yeah. So for example, you could be a business, and I'll give you an example of a cake shop, a small cake shop. And today, during COVID-19, your segmentation has changed. You have 2 key customers. One, I will never want to bake. Therefore, I will order a fully baked cake. 2, I have a lot of time, more time at home. I want to be able to cook. Therefore, I'm going to start cooking. But what do I want to order? I want to be able to order small packages with a recipe for me to come and make muffins at home. So you see, segmentation allows you to be able to decide, how do I target different sets of consumers? Where can I get most impact from and growth from? Therefore, I will focus on this audience and this segment, because this segment is much more profitable. Therefore, you put your efforts in the right segment. And I think it was discussed, but the segmentation changes according to how consumers are changing. So in today's world where we are living in a pandemic, your segmentation will change because consumer needs have changed. And you need to quickly, adapt and change your segmentation and what you're selling to your clients so that you can be relevant in today's world. So lastly, importance of metrics. And being a media person, I'm very big with data. And being big with data for me is without tracking, we don't know whether we are successful or we are not. Without tracking, we don't know whether we are reaching our customers or we are not. We don't know whether everything we've done, whether our route to market plan is working or not working, whether my product is working or not working. So in the smallest ways, in whatever you start to do, set some KPIs. And those key performance indicators must be measurable. It must be something you can look at in 2 or 3 months and say, I did ABCD. It must be measurable. If it's not measurable, then it's not a KPI. 2, you must be able to actually track it. So for example, what am I trying to do today? I'm trying to get new users. And then I'll really put a KPI around getting new people. Sometimes the KPI is around getting people to use my product more or take more from me. Depending on what KPI you've set, then it also allows you to be able to know what is working or not working. What I say is set your KPIs early, fail, but what you need to do is fail forward. Fail forward means when something happens that you're, oh God, this didn't work for me, you quickly adapt. You have to be nimble. Your organization has to be very nimble and very easy to adapt to what is happening. And if it doesn't work, then you quickly change it. I think in today's world, change is constant. And as consumers change, your KPIs change. As long as you're learning, as long as you're applying those KPIs, you're applying what you're learning to your new plans. It's the fact that a plan could be set today, and in 4 months you have to completely change that route to market because a few things have changed. As long as you're open to change, you keep looking at what be led by your consumer. Whatever your consumer needs, then adjust to meet the needs of the consumer. Fade.
Thank you so much. So let me just put up that people can start asking questions. We have a couple of minutes, and then if people want to stay behind, I know I put up that the Zoom's for an hour, but we can stay for another, I can stay till about 6:30. So once we're done with your questions, everybody listening that's tuned in, we can then have our own one-on-one session. And like I said before, Sarah started, we will go through my experience, and I can then go one-on-one and answer your questions, any questions that you may have regarding today's session and any more information that you have. So whilst we're waiting for, let me see if anybody has any questions that they're asking so far. Not just yet. Okay, so I want to know, it's easy to say, know your customers and figure out what their behavior is. Let me just say I'm a fashion stylist and I want to become a designer. And yet I know that every other person that I know is doing the exact same thing as I do. So I already have, I don't want to say like a network of clientele because I've worked as a stylist beforehand and now I want to move into designing. Now, the people that I was styling, maybe I was a celebrity stylist, will they automatically buy my clothes? But I wanted to target more like university students. Hold on, stop participant sharing. Are you there? Okay. So I then want to pivot.
Yes.
then I want to then attract university students rather than the celebrities that I was styling. How would I then get that information about getting to know my the young consumers, or something that will attract them? And how do you actually get to know your customers and know their behavior? And where do you find them? And how can I do this on a budget? Any advice?
So I think the first place is online. So I always say Google is your friend. First just go online and be able to see what are people doing, what are the trends affecting these people. There are a couple of companies, and when I'm done, I'll put the links here. There are a couple of companies that actually do free trends into consumers. There's trends.com that does category trends, whether it's beauty, pharmaceuticals, everything. And I think the first place, in our era to find information is online. But two is to really, I don't know, most of you maybe have a monkey, and I use it a lot. And what does it do? Quickly go online and for free be able to send to 10 of your friends, of your clients, a questionnaire of 5 things that can help you figure out what they want. And sometimes it's always, what does that person want? When you think about my product, what first comes to mind, So for example, if I'm a designer, I'd be like, okay, when do you use my service? Why do you use it this way? Do you think if I did ABCD, it would work for you? Few questions. I always say don't make their questions more than 6, because then consumers do not answer them. And something else I do a lot is quick focus groups. And sometimes nowadays focus groups do not need to be face-to-face. You can just create a quick WhatsApp group, chat with a few people and ask them, hi, I'm trying to do ABCD. How would this work for me? How would I do this? And this information, I think for big brands, we always see they put so much money in research and development. But for a small business, what you need to do is put in is the effort. It's the effort to find information online. It's the effort to do focus groups with your friends and small clients. It's the effort to have conversations with people and dig deep to find out what they would like if they were to buy your products. I'll give you an example. I think when Fade came to Kenya for the first time and she was asking me this and that, what do you think Bookings Africa would work? That was a way of collecting data, right? And just figuring out how the market looked like. Sometimes the information we are so looking for outside, it's within around some few people we know, or clients or friends that we know, and we can use those people to be able to get a bit of information, and then combine with whatever we can find online and be able to get good insights about what the consumer wants. But remember, consumers are changing. So what you've gotten today, you can't use that for the rest of your year. You almost have to keep on interacting with these people to get insights. Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you very much.
I think there's a question here.
Do you believe radio is
there's a question
Africa?
I can see it.
I've got one from Wilfred Magotti. Do you believe radio is king or queen in Africa? If yes, how do you measure this against your KPI if this is your medium of choice to launch and sustenance during route to market? Also, is there a point where you can scale down on media like radio if you see you have reached your peak and need a new consumer base? Okay, good question, Wilfred.
Okay, so I'll answer that, then I'll answer another one I saw from Precious. So the first one, hi Wilfred. I know Wilfred is from Tanzania actually. But radio is big, yes. But I don't know how long COVID is going to take. No one does. But in these times of COVID, what we've seen with data is the fact that TV is growing and growing massively. Why? Because radio is a medium we normally use in transit. So when you're on your way to work, in a car, in a public transport, you listen to radio. Now, with that hugely reduced, radio has suffered maybe a 15 to 20% loss in some markets. And TV has grown with those numbers. Why? Because consumers are on TV, and this is data for across all markets, especially by Geopol and Kantar, that TV is for entertainment, but more so for information. We are on TV trying to figure out what's going on with COVID in my tree, what's going on with COVID across the globe. So we are watching much more TV because of that. However, radio in Africa will continue to be big because of penetration, access, and the lack of electricity in a couple of in many areas in rural Africa allows radio to be able to reach more people. How do you measure radio? You measure radio by checking in attribution. Attribution is I spent 50 million on a campaign, or 10 million, or 2 shillings. What did I get when I told this question? We can have later, I can post links about attribution, but attribution allows you to be able to say, is this medium working for me or not? One more question about how do you make a surfing relevant in an advanced technology? Answer the emotional connection with your consumer. If you anchor what you do on an insight that is real to the consumer, 80% of the time you'll end up with something that is emotional. You anchor, if you anchor your business on a need, a very clear human need and consumer need, and then you communicate it in a way that is relevant to that consumer, then you'll create that connection. I'll give an example. I love baking, right? And I saw this lady who was selling cakes, and she was saying, you know, I know you're stressed out. Sometimes your measurements don't turn out right, and your cake is not what you want it to be. Here, I will order and I will deliver for you. Really, you know, you just have to mix and cook, mix and bake. And for me, that was the emotional why, because it was relevant to me. So you make your brand or your small business relevant to consumers by ensuring you're really anchored to their need and you're covering an insight that connects to the consumer.
That is awesome. Collins, there has been, or there will be, a rush by businesses to adjust their strategies to adapt to the changes brought by COVID-19. What would be the risk should this threat be controlled soonest and we revert to normalcy? Do you want to take that one?
Okay. So you see, yes, even if we revert to normalcy, maybe we will revert to normalcy. Maybe there'll be no normalcy. Maybe there'll be a new way in which we live, in which people interact, because this will change humanity in a way that we cannot revert back to just our normal way of working. However, as a brand and as a business, the biggest winners in this business are the plan how to change according to the changing times. Like Nokia, that quickly did not change in the last 10 years. We saw how that happened.
Yeah.
And it's up to you as a brand to say, today, this is the opportunity, and how am I going to take advantage of this opportunity?
Exactly.
If this changes, then you quickly change as a brand and get to where your consumer wants. As long as you're keeping to this consumer you've been talking to, you will keep on changing. I think we've seen a couple of changes. Week 1 of COVID, week 2 of COVID. By week 5 of COVID, things have really changed. I've seen tailors who stopped making clothes and now are making masks.
Yeah.
But when COVID-19 goes away, they can go back to making clothes. So it's how you switch and how nimble your thinking is to be able to switch to whatever is going on in the market, so that your business does not go under because it's no longer relevant.
Awesome. And last one, has the cost of advertising gone down?
The cost of advertising has gone down a bit in some markets, but not in all. So the last question, the cost of advertising has gone down in some markets. Remember, as much as some brands are dropping their advertisements, media is growing. Your costs have gone a little bit, but TV costs haven't. They have not increased, but they've kept the same rate, but they're offering a higher reach than before.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Yinka, could you please mute yourself? Adona, could you please?
My face.
I'm meeting you, Adona.
My face, my phone.
I'm trying to mute you, Adona. Could you please mute yourself? Thank you. All right, so we have now gotten to the one-on-one segment with me. Thank you very much to everyone who's stayed in. I know we've run over time for about an hour. Really, what are you really doing? No. Yinka, could you? Okay, there we go. I've muted him or her. So I just want to take this time out to thank everybody. And I also want to thank Social Media 100, Social Media and SME 100 Africa. They actually have been our partners throughout this, and they will be for the entire week. So if you are looking at the group chat, Sarah is sharing some URLs that will be interesting for you to learn about route to market and marketing brand and marketing strategies. So I want to spend, if you've just joined us, better late than never. We started at about what's the time now? It's 6:20. We started at 5 o'clock. So you're only an hour and 20 minutes late and you can't tell me that there was traffic. So what's your excuse? Don't worry though if you are late. We are going to be taking minutes of the masterclass and we will be sharing them with you via email. So we'll be sharing the minutes of the meeting alongside, so daily before tomorrow's next class, we will be sharing the minutes of today's meeting. And then by the end of the week, which will be Friday, by Saturday, we will then cut down videos because we're recording this as well. And we will then do like the main points, like a highlight of what the speakers said. So we'll be sharing that with you as well. And like I said, who's saying, okay, someone's telling me that their battery is dying, no problem. So Precious, thanks a lot for this opportunity. Now, if you want to stay with me, I'm going to be here for the next, as long as I need to be, pretty much. We're going to only be speaking about business plan, business models, reach to market, vision, mission, and all that good stuff. So that's what we're going to be focusing on for the next 15 minutes. And I want you to focus on Bookings Africa and how I came across all of this. Now I've got this book and I'm going to share, this book means the world to me. I'm sharing a big secret with you guys here. So I'm going to flip this so you can see my handwriting. It's like chicken scratches, but I have written here, startup checklist, perfect pitch, value proposition, financials, raising capital, company formation, business model, go-to-market strategy, business plan, pitch deck, validation. These are all my checkpoints. Now, I found this startup checklist on Harvard iLab. So I'm going to write that in the notes now in the chat section. So you can check it out on YouTube, Harvard iLab. And it literally gives you everything you need to know about a startup. So you want to know what your MVP is. A lot of people, when you're going into, as an entrepreneur, people are going to ask you all these buzzwords. What's your USP? What's your MVP? And you don't want to look like a deer in headlights. You don't want to look confused. So an MVP simply stands for the minimum viable product. I always say, don't assume what people want. It's up to the masses. Listen to the feedback of what people want, essentially. And also, it may be that the public like a specific part of your vision, build on that. So what I would always say, when Sarah was talking about marketing, thanks, Sarah. She's also putting comments on there. So Sarah, Pamile, and Buki, I'll also, in the minutes of the meeting, we'll also share all the social media handles so you can follow them as alongside Bookings Africa and SME 100 Africa. So thank you very much to Charles, the CEO of SME 100 Africa, who's also helping to make this program possible. So I always say, test the market. So whatever idea that you have, say, okay, let me ask a few people. And you might think, okay, I don't want people to steal my idea, but maybe, you know, ask your mom, your sister, your brother, your best friend. Try and ask about 3 or 4 people every week. And even if it's just a complete stranger, just to kind of get some feedback as to what exactly your business idea is, and is it valuable? Is it useful? Is it feasible? So you always need to think, okay, if I want to start selling clothes, How am I going to stand up for my competition? Who am I going to sell it to? If I'm in university, do I want to start selling it to the people in my dorm? Because that's just word of mouth. That's free marketing. You know, I don't need to pay for social media ads, or I don't need to pay for a billboard. You don't have that type of money. So you need to then see, and those are then your peer groups, your consumers might be your peers. Ask them, show them on design. If I made this for you, would you buy it? How much would you buy it for? Start getting their feedback. It's a lot of people are afraid of sharing their ideas as a focus group because they think that people are going to steal your idea. If you're going to live your life like that constantly, I feel like people will never get anywhere, because even you have to share your idea with an investor if you want, you know, funds or whatever assets or whatever your business lacks. You need to ask somebody to be able to help you fulfill the weak part of your business. You're going to need to tell them what the business is. So there's that. So I always think for the MVP, minimum viable product, what is the smallest thing that you can do? And you need to then figure out, are you actually, what you're doing, is it a hobby or is it an actual business? So a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to start selling this, or I want to go into business doing this, and I want to be an entrepreneur because of this. And my thing is, if you and your mom like it and that's it, is that a big enough addressable market? Is your mom going to be your only customer? So once again, you need to figure out what's the smallest thing that you need to do to be able to ensure that you can actually find an addressable market. So start up with the focus group. So I always say, number one, find a problem worth solving. Now, let me take this back to Bookings Africa. So a lot of people ask me, how did I come up with Bookings Africa? There were two ways of how I came up with Bookings Africa. Number one was as a producer. So my background is I own a TV production company called Film Factory. So I'm an executive producer. I've produced a lot of music videos for all the top musicians, a lot of TV commercials for all the top brands. So I produce a lot of TV content. And you're talking about everyone from Wizkid, Tiwa, Davido, Two-Face, The Band, name them, I've shot their video. If it's a brand, MTN, L'Oreal, Lancome, everyone, Ferrari, I've done stuff, Peugeot, with everyone. So I then was traveling to lots of different countries across Africa. And in my travels, a lot of the clients, because I'm going there to work, a lot of clients would ask me to reduce my budget. And we can't afford to fly your 20-man film crew. So can't you find a director in Tanzania? Can't you find the makeup artist that you need for the video shoot? Can't you find them in Angola? Or can't you find a dancer in Ivory Coast? They wanted to reduce their budget. So I was like, I can't speak Portuguese, I can't speak Swahili. Where would I go to find these people? And this was 10 years ago when I started my production company, right? So over the years, I then kept noticing that this was a definite problem. It's becoming very expensive for me to source the talent and the crew that I need in order to shoot my productions. And at the same time, I'm getting an influx, I'm getting overwhelmed via emails of so many people saying, Auntie, I'm a makeup artist. Can I do your next video shoots? I'm a model, I'm a dancer. I want to be in this video. I want to be in, can I be a model for the next billboard, the billboard commercial? And I just thought, how can I give the talent a platform where they can showcase their skills, and at the same time, how can I also have this platform available so clients like myself can actually book these talents? And voila, that's how the idea kind of started. Like, okay, I actually, to be honest, I said, I want somebody else to be able to create this platform. Because at the time, I was like, I don't know anything about tech. So in order for me to, I don't know how to code, I don't know how to, and I still don't know how to do that. So me starting my own web platform, my own website, my own app, that's a bit too far-fetched. And this was maybe in 2015 that I thought of Bookings Africa, and I did absolutely nothing with it. And then one day, now this is a little bit spiritual, but just stay with me. So one day, a client of mine asked me to shoot a TV commercial, and he wanted a bungalow that had no burglary bars, a garden at the front, a garden at the back, a swimming pool, and he wanted it in the middle of Lagos. And I said, you want a bungalow with a garden, front and back, and a swimming pool with no burglary bars? Who does that in Lagos? No way, like, you're just not gonna find that. And it was just, so he wanted to shoot the commercial within like 2 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks later, I'm still looking for this mystical location that he wanted to shoot. And he started getting frustrated because he was, I think he was an Asian gentleman. And he was like, in my country, we can, in my country, we can film this in a day. Why is it taking so long? Blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I got stressed and I just thought, how am I going to resolve this issue of finding a location? So I had a meeting, fell asleep. I came back home, fell asleep on my sofa, absolutely knackered. And then I heard a TV commercial saying, hey, download Bookings Africa, go to the app now, go to the website, visit bookingsafrica.com. If you're a model, DJ, dancer, makeup artist, if you've got a filming location, whatever you need in the media and entertainment industry, go to bookingsafrica.com or download the app, and you can now book any talent that you need across Africa. And I remember jumping up out of my sleep, and this was in 2016, and I thought, fantastic, like, this is the answer to my solutions this is the answer to my problems as a producer. I woke up and the TV was off, and I thought, do they take light? What's going on? Never mind. I remember the name of the website, bookingsafrica.com. I went there, and this domain is available to purchase. So in 2016, I bought the URL bookingsafrica.com. I still didn't do anything with it. And then following that, every single issue that I had with production, I kept hearing that little nagging voice saying, see, this is the problem that you're having. If Bookings Africa was available, this would be the solution. Bookings Africa is the solution for this. Bookings Africa is the solution for that. So every issue that I kept facing in production, Bookings Africa turned out to be the solution. And then I started doing a little bit of research between the time that I had the dream in 2016 and when the website went live in 2019. I did a lot of market research. So I'd speak to a lot of people like Sarah who run ad agencies and media houses and production companies. Then I'll also ask models and makeup artists and hairstylists and say, what's the biggest problem that you face? If somebody was to come up with a website like this, would you register? What would you want the website to fulfill for you? So I was asking the people that I was working with on a daily basis, I was getting their feedback just in a regular conversation. I'm asking them what they had for breakfast, how their parents are, and then what the biggest pain point is that they have as a freelance makeup artist. So as they're sharing all their issues with me, I'm making notes of it, and I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to ensure that Bookings Africa can help to resolve everybody's issues? So my users now, my consumers, are not only the clients who are making the booking, because that's obviously resolving the issue. They need a makeup artist. Bookings Africa, the tech enables you to make that booking. So that's a tech solution. However, what about are there any other solutions that I'm resolving for people like the talent? So things like no haggling, things like guaranteed payment, things like you can sell yourself, customer reviews as well. All of that is on the platform, and this helps to boost and market the talent as well. So these are all the solutions that I came up with. And I'm like, when you're talking about find a problem worth solving, then you say, will people pay money? Bookings Africa, so number 2 question is, will people pay money? So when you're trying to validate, is this a good business idea? So first of all, these are things that I was thinking of just to say, okay, I have this, is this a hobby? Or is this actually a business idea? So will people pay money for it is something very important. And I thought about, well, people are already paying money for makeup artists. People are already paying money for DJs. People are already paying money for. So yes, that answers the question. People will pay money. So it's not, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not trying to come up with a brand new rocket spaceship and will people buy my spaceship? No. You're already paying for your DJ, you're already paying for your makeup artist, you're already paying for your photographer, your videographer, your dancers, your whatever it is that you might need. Let's say you've got a wedding and you need your makeup done. You're already paying for a makeup artist. It's your birthday and you've hired a hall and you need a DJ. You're already gonna pay for the DJ. So now imagine you wanna have your party in Kenya. Now you can actually book a Kenyan DJ, book the venue, book your stylist, book your makeup artist, do all of that before you even get on the plane. So will people pay money for it? Yes. And then how do you want people to get to your page? How do you want people to know about you? So that was another question that I asked myself, like, how am I going to expect people to know about me? So then you have to look at I had to then think, this is one of the things that Wamile mentioned, and I think also Sarah mentioned as well, when you're talking about your route to market. So there's some certain things that, when Wamile mentioned about Dangote's daughter, like that could be a unique selling point or value proposition for some people. That could be your value proposition is, I have this amazing network. So my value, I had to then look at what value do I have and why am I uniquely positioned to be able to resolve this problem? Number one, I'm in media. Number two, I've traveled and I've been worked with, I hire freelancers, maybe at least 400 freelancers for my production annually. So it goes to show that, yes, there are people that are getting booked, and yes, there are people that need to book them. So I just need to be able to automate that booking process. So customer interviews is what I did to ensure, like I mentioned, and then I also decided to test what they call a concierge test. So what I did was, very simply, I went on a website, Wix, and I'll put that up, wix.com. I'm sure you guys may have heard of it. If not, it is, it's a platform where you can literally create your own website, and it's free. So, but it's a very, very simple website. You know, if you just want a simple website. So what I did was, I decided to see if I can get talent to register on my platform. I'm like, okay, I've got a few followers on social media. So Fadil Gonro is my Instagram and Twitter and my Facebook. So at the time, this was in 2018, I put out on social media, hi guys, I would like you guys to register on this website if you were interested in getting jobs as a makeup artist or a stylist or fashion designer. So I literally just had a one-page website. It had name, phone number, email, then it had a drop down of a few different jobs. So makeup artist, hairstyling, photography, voiceover artist, dancing. So literally had a drop down menu, and I said, click and choose the jobs that you're interested, or choose the skills that you have that you're interested in getting booked or getting hired for. And before I knew it, I then had a database within a few weeks or a few months. I had a database of about 400 different people who had signed up saying, yes, I'm interested, I'm looking for a job. Now that is me testing the market to say, is there an addressable market? Am I solving a problem? And do people actually need this? By the time I got all that data, it's evident that the answer is yes. So it's not just in my imagination that I'm thinking Bookings Africa will be a good idea. I've now actually been able to prove with data that it is a good idea. It is a product that's needed. So this whole process of research took me about a year and a half. This wasn't just, I've got an idea today in 2015 and boom, Bookings Africa started. I had that in 2015. Bookings Africa went live in 2019. Okay, so when you're thinking about your MVP, if you're trying to do an online business, you've got to think about, you know, doing your customer interviews. You've got to think about your landing pages. Maybe you've got to do like a little video on your Wix to say, this is my idea and this is why I'm doing this, or I'm trying to get your feedback on something. So there's various ways to test the market. And like I said, I'm giving you guys information that's free. I did not have the money to go and pay anybody to do anything or to build my business plan. I had to do it all myself. So I'm giving you all the tools that I did to ensure that you can do it on a budget, okay? So now we've talked about value proposition. If you've missed out earlier on, I believe Bookie and myself, we spoke briefly about the difference between a unique selling point and value proposition. Once again, if you've just joined us and you've missed out on the speakers, the guest speakers, not to worry, we will be sending minutes of this masterclass within 24 hours. So stay tuned to your emails, guys. And we'll also be editing clips from the speakers and sending that at the end of the week, probably on the weekend as well. So now, value proposition. This is what you need to think about. All of this is to go into your business plan, right? And just get your head around how to structure your business and what value you should offer. So there's something very simple. There's one simple template that I have that I will share with you. For blank, who are dissatisfied with blank, our product is blank that provides this unlike that. So I'm going to type that out really quickly so you guys can see what I'm talking about. for blank. So in that blank, I want you to put your target customers. This is coming up in the group chat very quickly. For blank who are dissatisfied. This is a way to think about your value proposition. So by the time you fill in all the blanks, you should have your value proposition down to a T, okay? Dissatisfied with the current option. So whatever your business is, so for, who are your customers for? For university students who are dissatisfied with late deliveries. Sorry, I did not get what you said. So I'm writing it now. Fumilola, no worries. Just stay with me, guys. I'm trying to share this. For target customers who are dissatisfied with the current option, our product is new product, which should be your product, obviously, or whatever service you're offering. And then that provides, this literally is a life-saving key statement, okay? Problem solving. Unlike, then you can then say competition. Okay, so let me explain this to you guys a little bit, right? So if Bookings Africa, I'm gonna fill in the blank for you guys, right? So for customers who are dissatisfied with haggling, our product is a secure online app that provides clients, that connects clients to freelance talent at the tap of a button, right? Unlike anything else that's available in Africa right now. Okay, so do you guys get that? For blank, so for my customers, for all African customers who are dissatisfied with haggling prices and late arrivals of staff, of freelancers, our product is a web app that connects, so that provides, and then the key problem solving. So what am I solving right now? That provides, that connects millions of clients directly to talented individuals at the tap of a button. Unlike any other software, any other app, any other website, any other technology right now. So that is basically what the value proposition of Bookings Africa is, one of them. So we're able to then say, this is who our target customers are. This is why, this is what I'm improving. These target customers are not satisfied with this. So if you know what your current target customers need or what they're not happy with, then you then know my new product is this, and this is why it's better, or this is the problem that it's solving, unlike who are your competition. Do you guys have that? So give me a little, feel free to send me a message. Yes, I got it. Okay, are you with me? Sorry, okay. Yes, I got it. Adefemi, yes. Chris, Sammy, yes. Funlola, Yusuf, it's clear. Busola, Kunsoya, got it. Emanuela, got it. All right, so you guys are on a roll with me. Got it. Right, so another thing that I always want to say, I'm not sure, because obviously I'm also looking at things from the tech perspective. So I'm not sure if you guys if you guys have a physical product, like maybe you bake cakes and you have a physical cake, or if you're trying to go for an online product, online service. So some of my feedback, some of what I'm saying is obviously from my experience. So it's specifically talking about online services, online providers. So I also want you to think about, if you are doing tech, think about problem first and then tech, or sometimes people think tech first and then problem. So I think for me, or I think Nigeria, we should always think about what is the problem first, and then what can I do to solve that? Some people, for example, you might say, let's say tech first. You might say, oh, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, they do this in America, in LA. They have this, you can go to their concert and watch them. What's it called? Holograms. So you can watch a hologram concert of Whitney Houston, Tupac, Michael Jackson. However, that's the tech, right? Now you've got to think, will that work in Nigeria right now? We'll think, no, that's a ghost store. Or how many people really, is there a huge market in Nigeria for us to see talent that have passed away? So do you see what I'm saying? We would rather see our current artists than see somebody who's passed away as a hologram. It would work in America because that's their market. But for us, you've also got to think of culture. We'll be thinking, you raised somebody from the dead. Yeah. You know how we are over here, guys. So that's something as simple as that. That's why I think you should, for me, business model innovation is a lot more applicable and adaptable to the African market as opposed to tech model innovation. Have you guys got that? Now, another way to think about when you're telling your story, think about the problem, I was trying to think about it in a personal way. When you're saying, I'm doing this better than somebody, or the unique problem that I've identified is this, and this is my solution. So I always say to people, try and make it personal, because then I don't feel like you're pitching. I feel like you're actually sharing and you're concerned. So if I'm going to talk to you about Bookings Africa's unique value proposition, you guys have heard it now. I'm not going to go into it to an investor and say, for customers who are dissatisfied with the current, no. That is just a statement for you to get in your head so you kind of at least know what you're trying to say in a nutshell. Now that you've got that statement down to a T, the next step is weaving a personal story into it. So the example I gave you about the gentleman who wanted to find a location, and I couldn't find one, and I got frustrated, and then I had the dream, and then in that dream I saw Bookings Africa, and that's all part of the story, right? So the story right now, if I'm going to tell you about Bookings Africa, I'll say, when was the last time that you traveled? Did you go to Ghana, or maybe you went for a friend's wedding in Cape Town or in Joburg? Did you ever need a makeup artist? Have you tried to book them? Or do you know what? Let me bring it home. Go online now and book a videographer. Let's just say COVID-19 wasn't happening right now and we could roam about the streets. Go online right now and book a photographer to come and take your pictures. Where would you go online right now in Nigeria to be able to book a photographer to come and take a picture of you and pay for them, see their entire portfolio? Imagine it's your son's birthday and or your daughter's birthday and you want a photographer to come to their house. Why do you need to call 10 different people? Or how much did you know? Have you heard of it? Where can I find? Do you have their Instagram handle? So imagine all that time and effort and money that you're saving. If you can then say, do you know what? My budget is 50K and I want a DJ for 3 hours. Who can I get in Lagos on June 22nd? And all the people that are available show up, and you can compare their prices and see the entire portfolio. Done. Now, because I'm weaving a story into it, I'm still telling you all those same things. I'm telling you who my customers are. I'm telling you what they're currently doing that they're unsatisfied with. I'm telling you what my new product is and how I'm solving problems and what the current alternative is. So why you should choose Bookings Africa. So sometimes when you're thinking of a problem, you should always think of it. I think of it in this way: unworkable, unavoidable, urgent, undeserved. So where does your problem fit under? So there's 4 different types of problems. Is it an unworkable problem? Is it an unavoidable problem? It's like traffic in Lagos. It's an unavoidable problem. When COVID-19 finishes and everybody's back on the road, traffic is a problem. It's unavoidable. How can you resolve that issue? So that's when you think, is it urgent? Yes, it's definitely urgent. Is it undeserved? Yes, it's underserved? Yes, it's underserved. Okay, so now, when I was going through my business plan, let me skip a few pages to where I started writing my business plan. Okay, so 8 magic things to add into any business plan. Are you guys, like I said, if you're making notes, fantastic. if you can't wait. If otherwise, we will be sharing the minutes of this meeting with you. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's quite strange to just talk and talk and talk and talk. I'm used to doing this with my team, but this is actually my first public Zoom, guys. So thank you. Adekami says, awesome so far. You guys rock. Okay, so business plan. Here are 8 things to add into any business plan. What is the company? So we've already kind of gone through how you should be think about what your company is. So in 1 or 2 sentences to capture and embody your entire business, your sales tagline, like mine is get booked, get paid, Africa works, you know, and then get great at selling whatever your company does. So number 1, and I'm gonna, thanks guys, you are cool at this, Fadi. Oh, I'm a teacher. Okay, so thanks for the comments. I'm gonna now give you guys 8 things to add into a business plan. Add into your biz plan. Okay. Number 1, introduce your company. Yeah. Number 2, your team, introduce your team. If it's just yourself, or have you hired people, and you know, it doesn't have to be in this order, by the way, guys. So introduce your team. When I was doing my initial pitches in 2018, 2019, it was just pretty much me and one other person. I had a PA and I had I had an office manager, and then I also had the guy who was building my website. His name is Amatoide, bless him. So I didn't even have money to get a CTO. So if you're thinking of how to, let's say you, like I mentioned much earlier on, I don't know how to code, right? So I knew that how am I going to start a business where fundamentally I need to be able to code? Right, and I don't have the time to start learning how to do so. And I could have gotten a CTO on board. But anyways, we'll talk later on about access to finance. So that's on Tuesday, how to hire a team. That's on Wednesday, and things to do, you know, when you're trying to grow that team. So the option that I had would have been to ask the gentleman to join my, to be a co-founder, right? That means I'll give him equity in the business. But unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, he was super busy. So he actually didn't have the time to dedicate to be my CTO. So he said, you know what, I'll be your freelancing part-time CTO. And I said, okay, do you know what, perfect. So that's how I managed to get him on board as part of the team. Obviously, it was good when I'm giving a pitch and presentation that I have a tech guy, because when people ask me about my background and I'm talking about media production, I've done this, done that, they go, right, okay, but who's now actually going to build that tech solution for you? I need to have somebody credible, and my tech, my part-time tech officer was on standby for me to obviously put him forward. So, number 2, who's the investor giving the money to? So introduce your team. And that's why it's very important, because the investors want to know, who am I backing? And any great investor, majority of the time, they back the people rather than the product. That is a trade secret that I've found out in my years in the tech world, because I've now gone to a lot of pitches, and you'll find that it's the founders and the team that have that spark. So yes, they want to know that your product actually works, but also you've got to also believe in it and make them believe that you believe in it as well. So what experience, what operations, what management skills do you have? What's your background? So yes, you need to introduce your team to the investors. Then how does it work? So what exactly are you doing? How does it work? So these are things that I'm trying to keep it broad, so that no matter what your business idea is, it should kind of fit in. Sometimes you can take some things out depending on, you know, what your how does it work? Depending on what your actual product or service is, you might not need to put absolutely everything. But this is, you know, if you do have everything down here, you've got a good basis for a template for a business plan. How does it work? So when you talk about how does it work, you're talking about the operations, your user experience and all of that, right? How does the company work? Is it just somebody calls you up for an order, or if you're a freelancer, is it that somebody has to DM you, or somebody they email you? How does the business actually operate, depending on whatever you're trying to do? You guys might have probably heard about market space, right? So where does this belong? That's the market space. So that's what Sarah was talking about and trying to find an identifiable marketplace, a market space. You want to ensure that what you're offering actually is needed. How many people is it needed to? What's your address? You know, so all of that stuff. Where does this belong? Number 5. Why hasn't this been done before? Are you the first person to think about this? Why hasn't this been done before? And if it has been done, then you now need to talk about what you're doing differently about this, right? So when you're talking about why hasn't this been done before, think of your competition. So you might want to say, I want to start selling hair, but a lot of people are selling hair. You might say you want to be a baker, but a lot of people are bakers. So what are you doing that they aren't doing? So why should an investor give you money if you're going to do the same thing that everybody else is doing? They might as well give their money to an already established business, because they're already probably making profit. So if you can't just copy and paste somebody else. You need to show that you've thought through the business a lot more. Number 6, this is something else that you need to definitely have in your business plan: revenue. Now, a lot of people, because you haven't even started your business yet, you have no idea about revenue. You need to have the projected financials. Okay, so at least if you know that you're going to sell hair, how much does a pack of hair cost wholesale? Or are you going to get it directly from India? And does that mean your shipping costs, blah, blah, blah? What is that? So now, if you now want to put up an advert on Instagram, how much is the advert going to cost? So that is your operating cost, plus your, the advertising cost, plus your shipping cost of the hair, plus the purchasing of the hair, plus somebody has bought it, you then have to deliver it to them. All of that is your operational cost. And then plus you've got to remember you're making this business sale online. That means you have to buy data as well. All of these things you have to think about, what are my actual costs? Now that I have my actual costs, how much am I selling the hair for? So now that I know how much I'm selling the hair for, what is my profit? So once you just kind of have those basics, any investor or anybody that you're pitching to will kind of know, okay, you kind of know how much your business is going to cost you roughly, what your expected profit margin is going to be. So these are all the various things that actually investors need when you're talking about revenue. So for number 6, I'll actually put, let me say that. So what are your numbers? Do you know your numbers? Okay. And then number 7, if you're going to pitch to an investor, they want to know how quickly will the investor make their money back? And the investor make their money back. It's just like when you go to their bank for a loan, right? They want to know, when are you going to pay me back? And is it in 30 days? Is it in 60 days? They need to know when they're making their money back. How could the investor make their money back? So it's very simple. If you borrow 100 naira from somebody and you say, I need this to be able to buy the hair that I need, right? They've invested 100 naira into your business. You can buy, maybe each hair costs 5 naira or something, right? So you can buy 50, 10 was it? My math is even bad right now. 100 naira, 5, 20. So then you can buy 20 packs of hair, right? But then you won't be 20 because you've still got to talk about the shipping, you've got to talk about the delivery, you've got to pay for social media, and you've got to do all of that from your 100 naira. So maybe then you can only spend, instead of 20, you can only buy 15 packs of hair. Now, that means for you to be able to make that 100 naira back, you need to be able to sell each hair for at least 20. You need to sell each one for at least 5 naira each, right? So 5 times 20 is 100 naira. So that means you need to be able to maybe sell that hair at double. So you're selling the hair at 10 naira each, right? And then By the time you've sold all 20 pieces of hair, you've made 200 naira, and then you can then give the investor back the 100 naira. But you need to let the investor know how long will it take you to actually sell those 20 pieces of hair. Got it? So they will now know I've bought this, I've invested my money, and I would expect my money back in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years. On average, most business plans are 3 years. I always advise you personally, I always do a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year. It's always good to think about your business that thoroughly. Where do I, if I had money now and I have this much, where am I going to get in 3 years? What would I do in 5 years? Where would I be in 10 years? So at least you always have some type of long-term goal. And then finally, number 8 is quite simply, how much do you need? So I'll always say, ideally try and keep your business plan to about 20 pages. If you can keep it within that, I think it's an acceptable amount. Keep your biz plan to 20 pages. And what else? You don't need to start talking about terms and conditions and all of that, like, you know, 20% equity and this and that. You don't necessarily need to talk about that. It's good to have your number in your back. If you want, if you make some, you might be asking for a loan. So you might be asking for debt rather than equity, given your equity in your company. If you don't know the difference between debt and equity when you're trying to raise finances, don't worry. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. But yeah, those are the top 8 things that you need to go through when you're thinking about your business plan. So when you're thinking, now let's go through it just a little bit. So number 1, introduce your company. Like I said, in 1 or 2 sentences, capture and embody your entire business. Get great at selling what your business is, basically, what your company does. Number 2 is how does it work? So, sorry, number 3, how does it work? So in the front end, what does the customer see? What's the user experience? And in the back end, what's the structure and what's unique about it? Okay, so there's some things that it's like when you go to a restaurant, the food that you eat when they present it to you at the table is not what happens in the kitchen, and all the things from them going to the market, buying it, putting it in the fridge, making sure that the chef comes in on time and make sure that they cook it and make sure that they have all the ingredients. All of those things need to be put in place. There's no point in saying I want to make fried chicken and then there's no oil. You need to make sure that somebody's buying the oil. All the systems need to be in place to ensure that the customer on the front end can actually get a good user experience as well. Right? And then, so I always say when you're talking about your story, it's always good to put a before and after. 20 pages. Somebody asked me how many pages for a business plan. Lola, 20 pages, ideally. I think, to be honest, mine was about 25, but you know, if you can keep it to 20 pages, you can do so. Also, what else do I want to give you? Marketplace. So that is regarding number 4. Where does this belong? Sorry, I put market space. I meant to put marketplace. You have to become an expert in your industry, right? So, Kale, what is the minimum? I wouldn't say there's a minimum, but I would say a 10-pager. A 10-pager pitch deck. Because otherwise it's going to be very, very low level if you just put like a 5-pager, especially when you're trying to raise funds. Anything between 5 and 10 pages feels more like a company profile. So a company profile, you're just explaining what your company does. You can do that in about 5 pages. But if you think about, I've given you 8 things that you need to do, that's already at least 1 page dedicated to each of the questions that I've given you. So ideally you want to keep it to about 10 pages. You want to have about 10 pages minimum, but also 20 pages maximum. All right, so I've got a few people saying that they've got to rush off. That is no problem whatsoever. I appreciate you guys that have all stayed so far. There's quite a lot of you that are actually still here. So I'm pretty humbled. Thank you guys. So marketplace, you've got to become an expert in your industry. You need to know what needs to be served, how you need to speak to your market, how you need to speak to your target audience, everything that Buki and Sarah mentioned as well. And then also you need to know your competition. Okay, so that is number 5. Why hasn't this been done before? Competition. There, it is so valuable. Oh, hello, mute all. I believe I've muted. Okay, good. Right. So you need to know who your competition is, what your competition, who your competitors are, what exactly they're doing, how they're being successful or how they're unsuccessful, what you can do better. Always learn from other people's experiences as well. So, you know, bread was great, and then somebody said, hey, why don't we slice it? They didn't change everything, but they just said, what I'm offering is, now I'm saving you 10 seconds because you don't have to get a knife and cut it yourself. It's already cut, it's already sliced. Hey, because when bread was first made, it wasn't pre-sliced, but somebody came up with the idea, let's slice it and package it. It's not rocket science. They did not fly to the moon. They just sliced bread and sold that as their unique selling point is, you can get regular bread and have to cut it yourself. We've already cut it for you. It is that simple. So financials. So you need to know your finances a bit. So that's number 6. What are your numbers? Okay, so you need to highlight, when you're talking about your revenue, highlight your key revenue drivers. Now, what this means is, I appreciate you finding. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just reading messages as well. I'm trying to multitask. So I will get to the questions a little bit later on. Let me just run through this. So for financials, number 6, we're talking about revenue. What are your numbers? What are your key revenue drivers? And this definitely needs to be in your business plan. What is it that would make sure that you go from making 1,000 naira a day to 1 million naira a day to 10 million naira a day to 1 billion naira a day? So what needs to happen in order for you to keep increasing your revenue? Do you need more customers? Do you need more sales? Do you need to charge more for your product or your service? So you need to highlight what are the various things. So for example, Bookings Africa, we have a variety of things that right now it's based on percentage. We charge 10 to 20% of the talent's revenue. So it's free for everybody to sign up. Whatever the talent charges, if the talent charges 30K, we keep 10 to 20% dependent, because we've got a partnership with Access Bank. If you get booked and paid into an Access Bank account, we only keep 10% commission. If you're not with Access, then it's a 20% commission. So that is one of our key revenue drivers. So in order for us to make money, we need to A, have a lot of talent, we need to get a lot of clients booking. So it's the bookings. Now, we also have a few other key revenue drivers. For example, there's going to be a freemium model where people can subscribe and you get access to certain premium services. So that will also be giving us an income when people start paying for these premium services. So then the more people that pay for these premium services, once again, that would be a revenue driver. That would increase our income. Okay, so those are the sort of things that you need to think about. So that's what's your key revenue driver, because that will also, you would now know what you need to focus on pushing in order to be able to increase your sales or increase your revenue. Then number 7, how quickly the investor make their money. Once again, that is part of knowing your numbers. Once you know how much everything's going to cost you, what your OPEX is, your overhead charges are. Once you know all of that, you can then always give a timeline. Like if I borrow 100 naira and my overheads are X amount, by the time I sell 20 packs of hair, I would have made a double and I'll be able to pay back my investor. So you can work out number 7, how quickly can the investor make their money back? You can work that out once you've got all your numbers together in number 6. And number 8, how much do you need? I really can't tell you. For me, I say I wasn't greedy at all. A lot of people, if they think of it, when they figure out, oh, I need 100 naira, they would actually say, I want 500 naira. I did not want to owe people, and I was just like, I don't want to then be put too much under pressure and something that was unrealistic. So I think it's always good to go for a realistic figure. Yes, go for maybe 10% or 20%, maybe above what you might need in case the investor wants to haggle. But I don't go for anything too crazy, because obviously you'll put the investor off. Like you can't say, oh, I need I want to launch an app and then I need $50 million. What for? You want to launch it in Nigeria. Why do you need $50 million? You need to justify. And if you're going to ask, if you do need $50 million, there's nothing wrong with that. If you might need $500 million, there's nothing wrong with that. But your numbers 1 to 7 need to show what you're spending the money on. What exactly is your product? How much is it going to cost you? What is your team going to cost? Are you hiring Bill Gates and you need to pay me $1 million, $1 million a year, or a month? What exactly are you spending the money on that can justify why you need that? So that's also something to think about as well. So moving forward, as we wrap up, I think I've kept you guys for quite a while now. It's already past 7, so we've been on here for over 2 hours. Thank you again, once again, for staying with me. So wrapping up, don't forget, we'll be sharing the link daily. So tomorrow we're talking about access to finance. Today we've spoken about business plans, business model, route to market, knowing your vision, mission, your unique selling point. So those are all the things that we've covered today. And once again, there's going to be minutes of the masterclass shared. Now, tomorrow we'll be talking about starting with 0. So imagine you've got no money, and I was in that position, I ain't gonna lie, hey, we're together in this, right? Let's keep it real. So starting with 0, and you've got this great business idea, and you're thinking, right, now I've done my business plan, I know that I need $50,000, $100,000, 1 million naira, 500K, whatever it is, right? This is how much you need. How do I access that? So tomorrow we're going to talk about whether it's grants, whether it's loans, whether it's getting equity and selling equity as part of your business, if you need to pitch to investors, the different type of investors, from angel investors to venture capitalists to private equity. There's so many different types of venture access to finance ventures that you can go through. So that is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. We're going to have a variety of guests. We're going to have Charles, who's the CEO of I keep saying social, SME, which is Small Medium Enterprises, SME 100 Africa. They are our partners when it comes to this 5-day masterclass. Thank you very much, Charles. I think you're still online here. So Charles will be giving you how SME 100 Africa can help entrepreneurs and small businesses, how they can get access to finance. Also, we'll be speaking with Ife Durosimi-Eti, who will be talking about grants. So if you want to apply for grants, then she'll tell you how to do so and what to look out for and which websites or who to, she'll point you in the right direction. We'll also talk about getting access from the government, getting loans from government, getting loans from venture capitalists, from investors, and even getting loans from banks as well. So there's so many variety of ways that you can actually access you can access finance. And then day 3, which is Wednesday, we're going to talk about pitch perfect. So that is how to perfect your pitch. 1, how to write your pitch deck, because you've already written your business plan, right? You know how much money you need, and you're thinking, right, I want to go and pitch to this person for money. That's number 2. Number 3, which is day 3, is what are you going to say to them? You need to have a pitch deck ready, and you need to be able to give an elevator pitch. I can tell you what my business is about in 1 minute. I can pitch to you in 1 minute. I can pitch to you in 5 minutes. I can pitch to you in 10 minutes. You tell me, give me 30 minutes. I can keep going. So you need to actually perfect and practice. If I sell Dangote in the elevator and I had 1 minute to tell him what my business is about and I want him to give me $100,000, what am I going to say? And I literally time myself. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. So we're going to have how to write the perfect pitch, the art of writing a pitch deck, the art of pitching, and then what investors want to hear. Now, Wednesday for me is going to be phenomenal because I'm actually getting my investor. Yes, my investor of Bookings Africa, who is one of the largest investors for SMEs across Africa, full stop. He's a genius. And he's so highly respected in the finance and tech industry globally. You do not want to miss out on Wednesday. So that is the Pitch Perfect masterclass on Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to talk about team building, how to hire a team, when to hire, who to hire. We're also going to cover career pivoting, because a lot of the time some people have full-time jobs, but then their real passion, they're doing it part-time. So can you juggle both? Can you juggle your full-time and your part-time? Or should you just maybe leave your full-time and delve deeply into your part-time, give it everything? So there's so many options, and I'll be giving you advice and on how to navigate your career. And we'll also be talking about workplace issues. If you are in a full-time job or a part-time job and you're working in an office, there might be some gender discrimination. And also, if you're going to start your own business, how to think about avoiding these issues in the future as well. So that's going to be on Thursday. We're going to have, and also the importance of upskilling, because like, if I couldn't get my tech guy, Otoyede, to help build my platform initially, then I would have had to learn how to code myself. So sometimes there's some things that if you can't afford to hire somebody else, you may literally just have to learn it yourself, or you have to give away equity in your business so that the person is then invested in providing their skills for you. So we'll go over that on Thursday. And finally, Friday is the final checklist, or just the, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And that is what I call stay in check. So stay in check, we're going to be talking about your legal, your accounting, your registration, business names, and the importance of all of that, and how to do that, how to pay your taxes, because I know majority of you don't, even though you should. So how to pay your taxes, the importance of doing that. So all the legalities and all the fine, all the little bits and bobs that we can what's it called, that we can just help you go over. So by the time you're done with day 5, you should actually have had a full checklist of everything to do with being an entrepreneur. Do you guys have any questions for me? If you want to leave, feel free to leave. I'm not going to hold you down. I won't feel bad, I promise. But please do try and make it tomorrow, because 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to be talking about access to finance, which is really, really, really important as well as an entrepreneur. You want to know all the questions available to you. So I am just putting in the group now. Quick questions, anyone? So Halima says, thank you. Adetoya say, thank you. Adiola Alfred, thank you. Chris Sammy, thank you. Earl, my day couldn't have ended any better. Thank you so much. Kale Unka, thank you. Thank you guys so much for all your praise and accolades. Like I said, it's my first Zoom, so public Zoom. So I'm not even sure how it normally goes, because I only Zoom with my staff. So what does the profit margin for a company like Bookings Africa look like, considering it's all in percentages? Our profit margin is 20%. So we take 20% from the talent. But if the talent charges $100 or 100,000 Naira, we'll keep 20,000 Naira. However, we have a partnership with Access Bank. So if you're getting paid into an Access Bank account, we only charge you 10%. We also have a partnership with Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. So if you are using their promo code, then we only charge you 18%. So we've got various promotions going on, but our percentage of profit margin, generally we're looking about 20% is the average. Any other questions? Is there anything about, are we going to get the PowerPoint on your session? Absolutely. So Yinka Kwadonu, we will be sharing this. Ideally, you should get it before tomorrow's session. So maybe around 4 o'clock tomorrow, you should get the minutes. So every 24 hours, you'll be getting the minutes of the previous day. And at the end of the week, we'll also share with you some short videos. And if you then want to rewatch the entire session, the entire masterclass, you can actually watch it on YouTube from next week as well. But we'll be sharing out all this information. We've got your email addresses, so we will be sharing them with you. I urge everyone, please support me, download the app, sign up to Bookings Africa. If you are a talent, or even if we want to monetize your hustle, monetize your passion. So if you do have even if you're not a full-time makeup artist or a full-time dancer or a full-time DJ or full-time photographer, it could just be a passion that you have. You can now actually make money and monetize your passion at the tap of a button. Your entire career is available at your fingertips. So do we have any more questions based on business plan, business models, vision, mission, unique selling point, value proposition? What else did we go talk about? Route to market. Was there anything else that that you need to know? Anybody? So I will also show you, if you're still there, I will show you, if you can see here, I've got value proposition written there, right? So this is me, that statement that I gave to you for target audience, who, you know, so that statement that I asked you guys to fill out, basically, for target customers who are dissatisfied with our product, is that provides the key problem solving, unlike, so that statement, the value proposition statement. So this was me, and I wrote this probably around maybe 2017, 28, yeah, I'm sure it's about 2017. And I'm writing different ways that I can actually come up with a value proposition. So if you look at, I wrote that, I'm gonna flip the page, right? And so I kept reworking it into different ways. So these are all the different ways that I was talking about my value proposition. So I kept thinking, is this the best way that I can deliver my value proposition? So I wrote something like, Bookings Africa is a network-based two-sided platform that facilitates the process of booking the services required for media production. So it became really long. On one side, it enables freelance media creatives, list their blah, blah, blah. So I wrote everything down, and then I started to shorten it, until I got to pretty much where we are now, which is Bookings Africa. So it provides me this. Hello? Sandra, I muted you. Thank you very much. So yes, any more questions? What does the profit margin look like? PowerPoint. How long does it take to execute a full business plan? Depends on how long you want to work. Like, I think it took me probably about a good week. Like, I probably did majority of it within 2 or 3 days, but then sometimes I'll find that I need to get a lot of research. Excuse me, maybe I need to read a book. Maybe I need to be honest, what I found that took the longest was actually the design, the layout of the actual business plan, as opposed to the information. Is there a way we can send a mail to you on Bookings Africa? Yes. Is there a section for professional designers, such as interior designers, graphic designers, architects? We do have graphic designers and illustrators available on the platform. Yes. We don't have architects or interior designers just yet, but graphics designers, absolutely. Please, in consequent classes, would it be possible to include examples from the agric sector? Ochiba, I think, no, what we're trying to do here is, no matter what service or sector you are in, if you're a startup, regardless whether it's fashion, in agric, in finance, it doesn't, in media, you should be able to benefit and apply everything that we've mentioned today. You should be able to apply that into making your own business plan. So do you have a specific question about the agriculture sector that you want us to focus on? And then maybe I could answer it if I have the answer. If not, I could get the answer and hopefully come back by tomorrow with that for you guys. So is there a way that you can send a mail to me? Absolutely. So when we send our the minutes of the masterclass, it's going to have all the speakers' information, their LinkedIn profile, their what's it called, Instagram, there's social media, and it will also have the email address, so you can be, if you want to contact me, that will also be given to you there. So I will request for the exact start time and end time for subsequent classes so we can plan our evenings. So the start time is 5 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. till 6. So what it is that from 5 p.m. to 6 is when we have the introduction and we have the speakers, the guest speakers. Now, what I then want to do is after that, from 6 p.m. for another hour or for as long as it takes, because I am just that given, if I feel like I have information to share with you and you decide that you want to stay behind, you can feel free to do so. So the mandatory class is 5 to 6, and then the additional notes and my personal experience and my personal feedback will be from 6 to 7. And that is Monday through to Friday. So today is officially the end of day 1. Oluwatobi says, thanks so much. This has been insightful. I don't live in Nigeria, but I want to start a business based in Nigeria. So guys, please feel free to join tomorrow. Tell your friends, because I originally only wanted 100 people, but we actually got requests for almost 300 people that wanted to be in this class. So we now have access to, I've expanded the Zoom so 500 people can join. So feel free to make sure, don't share the link because the link is going to change every day. But please feel free to share I'll share you the registration email, info@bookingsafrica.com. Feel free to share this email with your friends, with your peers, with your colleagues, and that way they can also get access. They can also get, they can also join the Zoom for the rest of the week. And even if somebody joins tomorrow and they missed today's session, don't forget that at the end of the week, we will still be sharing minutes of the meeting and also videos as well. And hopefully within the next 1 week or 2 weeks maximum, all the videos will be uploaded onto our YouTube page. So, like I said, I don't think anyone is asking any more questions. I think you guys have all said you've enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, please let me know. I'm going to ask my head of communications, Uzo. She's going to email everybody a quick survey. It's literally going to be about 5-6 questions at the most, and you just have to click yes, no, good, fair, whatever. So just please, 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 I would really appreciate if you could just take about 2 minutes to just answer the survey and send it back to us, because that means, like I said, it's my first time doing a public Zoom. So I actually want to be able to answer and structure the entire session so it's very beneficial for you. So please answer the survey and send it back to us whenever you do receive it via email. And that way we can make sure that the next classes, the subsequent classes, answer your needs, fulfill your needs, so you can take away from this. This course is usually quite expensive. Entrepreneurship classes are usually very expensive. So the fact that you're getting a whole week's worth of it for free, I want you to spread the good news, but I also want to make sure that I'm delivering it so that it's most applicable and most useful for you. So to everybody that's joined me today, muchas gracias. Oshe, I will catch you tomorrow, same time, 5 o'clock. All my entrepreneurs, keep safe. I know that we can only talk to each other online. It's absolutely fine. Stay safe, wash your hands, and yeah, make sure that you use this time wisely, this downtime. Use it wisely, gain as much knowledge as you can, and come back post-COVID even bigger and better than before, okay? So I'll see you guys in 24 hours. Ciao.